case, and before the trial, during the trial, you said repeatedly, I want to take that stand, I want to clear my name. You said it so many times. Just watch, we put together a few of the comments.
I expect to be fully vindicated and clear my name.
I can't wait to take the stand and testify and get the truth out. Every day goes by, I get closer to taking that stand myself.
I will prove my innocence, and I will testify.
There have been reports since then that your defense team, they did sort of a mock trial with you to put you on the stand to see how you do. Let me just finish for a second. That you did not do well. They figured you would be clobbered by the prosecution. That's not, and that's why you did not take the stand. You're saying that is not true at all.
They threw everything but the kitchen sink at me. The power of the federal government with millions and millions of dollars that they can spend of taxpayer money. They failed to convict me of any corruption charges without us putting any defense.
Why didn't you take the stand?
Our legal team determined that after the government put its case on, that they didn't prove any corruption, and as a result of that, made a determination to give no credence to their case and to rest.
If there is a retrial, will you commit today that you will take the stand this time, since it meant so much to you last time to take the stand?
Look, I wanted to take the stand the first time around, and I certainly would, would be fully prepared to take it the second time around if there is one. The big question is, why are they wasting taxpayer money? In Chicago, your network did a program, Dateline. Chicago is now the crime capital of the world. Police officers are being gunned down. Children are being shot in front of their homes where they're playing. They're spending millions of dollars to prosecute me when they instead should use that money, in my view, to be able to address the real crime problems in places like Chicago.
Okay, and I think some people would agree with you that having a retrial is going to cost a lot of money. In fact, you're out of money, as John Yang already said. You spent close to $3 million of your defense fund. Can you even afford another trial?
Well, you keep fighting against all the odds. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I'm up against the giant Goliath, and I take solace in the biblical story of David. In this case, I don't have a slingshot, but I do have the truth on my side. And without putting on defense, let me emphasize again, the government failed to convict me of any corruption charges. And let me remind you that this prosecutor had me arrested as sitting governor. He said he was stopping a crime spree before it happened. December the 9th, 2008. I challenge him. Release the tapes on December the 8th.
Some would argue that this was not failure by the prosecution, that this was a matter of poor jury selection. And if there is a retrial because of that 11-to-1 vote on the most significant charge against you, you're going to be in trouble.
No, the fact is, when the government has all the advantages that they have and all the money that they have, and in cases like this, if you talk to the experts, they never, ever fail to get the guy they're trying to get. Well, they didn't in this particular case. Again, every charge relating to corruption, 23 of them, none of them were guilty.
Let's put the criminal charges aside for a second. No matter where you slice it, the trial did not paint a pretty picture of you. You came across as someone who's insecure, vulgar, uninterested in the office. Even your own defense team, and I found this amazing, arguments referred to you as a dim bulb that did basically what politicians do. That's gonna hurt. Those are the guys on your side.
Well, what I was about to do on December the 9th and 10th and December the 8th, it was pretty much set up, and the President's Chief of Staff, Rahm Emanuel, was part of the deal, was to appoint a senator in exchange for jobs for people, health care, and no taxes for people. That was to do things for people. Again, in America, you're supposed to have the freedom to be able to talk freely on the telephone, and in my case, lawyers and advisors. If there was any intent to break any law, I wouldn't be speaking so freely, thinking out loud and brainstorming. And there's a tape that was played before that jury that said it has to be done legally, obviously. That's a tape that the government played.
Well, that was my intent. Still came down 11-10, as I point out once again, for that most serious charge. This has got to have been very difficult for you and your family. Going forward, I just wonder about how you can handle this mentally and physically.
Well, again, it's an upside-down story. Again, I want to challenge the prosecutor, because I'll agree to this. Release all the evidence to the public. 2% of the tapes were played in court. We didn't put a defense on. There are 2,000 conversations with me. They refused to play all of them. They ought to play the tapes on December the 8th, December the 7th, the day before, 2 days before I was arrested, so people can see what they stopped when they arrested me. They stopped jobs and health care and protecting taxpayers from higher taxes.
Under any circumstances, will you accept a plea deal?
Absolutely not. We are going to win. We've already won the first round. We're going to win this one. I will appeal that false statement from 5 years ago that they trumped up.
And meanwhile, you do not have a job. You did a really good job, though, on Celebrity Apprentice. Will we see you in another reality show? Are you going to be with Snooki?
Let me take accountability for celebrity apprentice. That verdict that Donald Trump made in the boardroom firing me was the right one. This one, where the government failed to prove a case, was essentially
I'm
wrong.
teasing you a little bit with this, right. But could I see you doing something like that again? Is that in the cards?
Which one?
Doing reality television again.
Here's what they do to you, too, the government, when they want to get you. They squeeze you financially so that they force you to be in a position.
You going to do another reality show?
If the opportunities are there, I would certainly take a look at it, of course.
All right, Governor, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Anything you want to say? We're really running out of time to the person, that lone juror, very quickly.
Well, I would just say I've always had a deep abiding faith in God, and when I look at that, it just confirms again, praise God, and certainly thank her for her good judgment. And the reality is, if we put a defense on, I think we'd have probably been acquitted on every one of them.
So you should have taken the stand.
It's easy to second guess, but let me point this out.
You're going to dump these lawyers if there's a retrial, Governor?
They did not.
The ones who called you a dim bum, you're going to dump these lawyers?
My lawyers are fantastic and they're great, and they did something that no one ever does. These prosecutors never lose when they bring those resources against somebody, and did what they did, slander me across the world when they said I was selling the Senate seat for money, is what they told the world. Political discussions in America, in my judgment, are still legal, and political horse trading and discussing those sorts of things are still legal. It happens even today when the Congress votes.
All right, Governor. Thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Rod Blagojevich. And just ahead.